It is March 10th, 2025, and today I learned something that surprised me. I was working on a video about writing and came across something that took me sideways and into my past. In January 6, 2001, Amazon, I ordered a book. Cost $10.50, $4.48 shipping and handling. I don't know if Amazon had the Prime back then, 2001, January 6, 2001. And it was this book, Writing to the Point, a complete guide to selling fiction. And here's that book, Writing to the Point, a complete guide to selling fiction, $10.50. Author Algis Budrys. Now, let's come back up here. See, yeah. This is from Stephen King's memoir on writing. And he says he had a note from an editor. Said, not bad, but puffy. You need to revise for length. Formula second draft equals first draft minus 10%. Good luck. Wish I could remember who wrote that note. Algis Budrys, perhaps. Budrys touched the lives of a lot of writers. Now, this is the third time I've tried to make this video. And I'm going to come back to the key point here. And Budrys was editor of a magazine called Tomorrow, I believe, and I submitted a story in 1987. He rejected it, but sent a note that he was coming out with this book, and when it comes out, I should buy it. And it came out in 1988, and he sent me a postcard. Now, in 1988, a long-distance call would have been too costly to call me. No such thing yet as email for common folk like us. But and this particular that I bought in 2001 was fourth printing revised. And as he said, the primary purpose of this book is to teach you everything you need to know in order to sell fiction. Science fiction and fantasy in particular, but actually any kind of fiction. So what stunned me was when I looked at the order, this book that I bought for $10 is now $800. It's ridiculous. It's a treasure. That's why people, I presume they're paying that much. I will try to save you some money in this video. I think I'm going to have to put down my camera. This is an iPhone, and I'll pick her back up quickly. Okay, at the end of the book, he summarizes what a story is. The manuscript is not the story. Writing is not the reverse of reading. Tell only your story. In fact, I was going to talk about all kinds of stuff, but I'm just doing this. Every story is either a short story or a structure of interlocking short stories. Others will debate it, but that's a good point. The 7 parts to a perfect short story. A principal character. a context. The most important problem. When you have first shown the above three things to the reader, the beginning of the story has been completed. You cannot, in the course of any part of the story, violate the rules you have just created. If you do, you invalidate the story. Remember that what you show the reader during the beginning, wherever it occurs, establishes the rules. That is, the universe in which the story occurs. Start in the middle. Here, the protagonist makes an intelligent, believable attempt to solve the problem based on what the protagonist thinks he knows about the situation and his own resources. The protagonist's first attempted solution fails. When the problem is about to become a total disaster, one last gasp achieves either victory or death. The end. Somebody else must validate the story. He gives the example of the end of a Lone Ranger episode on in print, on radio, and on television, probably in film too. It's my own notes. He has this, and then I wrote in character, context, problem. Makes believable attempts to solve problem, unexpectedly fails 3 times. He says not 2, not 4, 3. And then he has victory in the example he gives. And then validation. Who was that masked man? I owe silver away. Okay, and why was this on my mind? Well, I had put up a video. Choosing a direction in life after high school. Put it up, as this says, 5 days ago. And it's fairly long, 15 minutes. And I tell about my guidance counselor in college. I had been thinking about going into medicine, but I couldn't decide between research, in which case either an MD or a PhD or both, and hands-on patient care. It's influenced by William A. Nolan, MD, on patient care, and Paul DeCroof on research. And not just one, but 3 guidance counselors recommended I go get some actual patient care experience. So all of them said that they're really hurting, in demand as certified nurse assistants. You can probably get in that the day after the end of the semester, work this summer as a nurse aide, nurse assistant. Maybe if you're really interested to become an EMT after that. And then you'll decide whether you want patient care or want to do research. So what I discuss in this, to my shock, I couldn't get into a nurse aide course. I couldn't get into the EMT class. I'm rejected. I'm not even on the wait list. But I persisted. Now, in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't. I should have just said, okay, fine. I won't go into medicine at all. I'll go into finance. And in the 80s, I'd have been, one of those guys, but I'd probably made a lot of money. Anyway, I didn't do that. I became a certified nurse assistant, worked in the emergency room. Because I was working in the emergency room, I got into the EMT class, became an EMT, became a firefighter. I spent, as a paid or volunteer, 20 years in emergency services. 5 of those years was after I became a lawyer. Didn't do any kind of law where I was, taking advantage of that situation. And the people I rode with, at least one of them I'd worked with before. They'd been my buddies. Lost touch with almost all of them. There were some really good people. Octorloni, LeBaron, good guys. I've been meaning to try to contact them. I hope they're still living. Anyway, this is how you tell a story. It's one way to tell a story. This is the fourth printing, new edition. I have 3 copies of this. I have the one I bought in '88, then I bought another one a few years later, and then I bought this one in 2001. I expect I've got 3 children, I'll give 1 copy to each. No, if you want one, you'll have to get your own. And I've just told you the basics of what's in it. It's good stuff.